Confusing and Misused Words. I'm Uncle Mike. At first year college, I find a lot of students have difficulty with some of the things they didn't master in elementary school or high school when it comes to writing. Some of these are confusing words, and some of them are words that are just misused. So I'm going to show a couple of the complex things and a couple of the quite easy things that you should have mastered by the time you get to first year writing at college. Let's start with a tough one. When to use the word affect, when to use the word effect. Affect is almost always a verb, and we're not going to worry about the occasions when it isn't. But for the most part, it's a verb, and it means have an influence. Effect is almost always a noun, and it means a result. Let's take a look at a couple of sentences. As a verb, it will affect the population. That's a verb because it means have an influence on. There's the word influence. We would use affect. As a noun, it will cause a big effect. That, of course, is a result. That's a noun. So let's take a look at these two again. If influence equals affect and result equals effect, how do I keep them straight when to use which one? Here's the secret. The word result has an E in it, and so does the word effect. Result, effect. So if you write the sentence and you realize the word result should be in there because it's a noun, you take the E from result and you use it in the word effect, and that will keep it straight for you. Every day and every day. So the one word every day means commonplace and ordinary. The two words every day means every single day. So here's some sentences. He wore his everyday clothes, his commonplace clothes. It is an everyday occurrence, which means it's ordinary. On the other hand, he wore new clothes every day. And this didn't happen every day. Good and well. Well, good is an adjective, so it describes a noun. Well is an adverb. It describes everything else except a noun. Now, I didn't make the rules. That's just how it is. That was a good show. I'm using the word good because it is describing show, which is, of course, a noun. If someone were to say to you, "How are you?" you would say, "I am good," because you are describing how you are, and you are a noun. The show was done really well. I'm using the word well now as an adverb because I'm not describing the show. I'm describing how it was done, and done is a verb. It's an action word. If someone were to say to you, "How are you doing?" you would say, "I am doing well." The word well is describing doing. It's not describing I. Me, myself. Okay, me is an objective person pronoun, and it's pretty straightforward. Myself is a reflective pronoun, and it has specific rules when it can be used. So leave the report with me. Now, lots of times I hear people nowadays saying, well, leave the report with myself. Oh, on the team there was Bill, Dave, and myself. Those are people trying to sound intelligent when they really aren't. Never use myself if you can use me. Tim asked me to hurry up. Myself. How about this one? I entered the room and saw myself in the mirror. They kept telling themselves it was okay. A reflective pronoun such as myself, are you listening? Can only be used if you've already identified who myself is earlier in the same sentence. That's simple. You can't use myself in this sentence unless earlier you've said something like I. Down here, themselves, you've identified who they are. If you use it outside of this context, you are using it incorrectly. Here's another one that can get you in trouble, and it shouldn't be very difficult. Regardless means without paying attention to anything else, giving no regard to anything else. Irregardless means nothing because it is not a word. Never has been, never will be. And even if it was a word, irregardless would mean the opposite of what regardless means. Bring and take. Bring means action coming toward the speaker, and take means action going some other direction. So bring the phone to me. That's coming toward me. Bring your car to my house, where I live. Take this drink away. You don't bring this drink away. And quite often, well, why don't you bring your mom to the mall? That would only be correct if you were literally at the mall waiting for them. If you're just giving advice to a friend, take your mom to the mall. Take her away to the mall. Okay, here's one that I do have a lot of trouble with at first year college level, and there should be no question. This was not hard. This is easy. It's is a possessive word. It means something belongs to it. Its with the apostrophe is a contraction, and it's only used in one case, to replace the words it is. If you can't put it is in the sentence, then you can't use this contraction. You've got to use the other one. Its main purpose was to punish. The main purpose belongs to it. That's why there's the its. The glow from its light was everywhere. The glow belongs to this it. It's the only way to write. That's a short way of saying it is the only way to write. Now I see it is my decision. Now I see it's my decision. Again, contraction, it apostrophe s is only used to replace the words it is. You're going to find the same thing here. Your is a possessive word. It means something belongs to you. Your with an apostrophe is a contraction, and it's used only to replace the words you are. So it is your mistake, not mine. That mistake belongs to you. Your meal is coming. The meal that belongs to you is on its way. You're first in line. You are first in line. How about the second one? I know you are really good at this. I know you're really good at this. Again, when you use the contraction, it can only be used to replace you are. Were and were. Well, the word were is actually, usually, a verb, the past tense of the to be verb, such as are. We'll explain that more when we show the sentences. W-E apostrophe R-E is a contraction, and once again it's used only to replace the words we are. So, there were no excuses this time. That's the past tense of the word are. There are no excuses. Okay, well, there are no excuses in front of us now, and later when I refer to it, there were no excuses. There were 3 dogs in the yard. That's the past tense of there are 3 dogs in the yard. Now we'll bring the contraction down. We're too early. We are too early. Or, they said we are the best so far. They said we're the best so far. There, and there. Again, there should be no problem with these ones, but there is. There is a place. Set it there. Well, there it is. There with an apostrophe is a contraction, and it's only used to replace the words they are. So, they're last. They're all done. There, when it's T-H-E-I-R, is a possessive word. It belongs to them. It was their car. I saw their reaction. Than and then. 2 totally different words. Than is used in comparisons. Then literally means next. So, she is faster than I am. She is faster than I am. This is sweeter than that. Compare that with this one. He will study, then he will pass the test. See how then is next? She went north, then she turned east. I'm going to end with a kind of a tough one that has an easy answer if you take a moment to understand the concept. Do I use who or do I use whom? Well, we're going to use a certain test that's going to help us out, rather than memorizing some type of grammatical concepts. You'll come to who or whom when there is a question. It has who or whom in it. The secret is to answer the question using a full sentence. The trick is to always answer the question using he or him. So you can come back to this screen if you want to, but let me go forward and explain what I mean. So you have something that says, who do I speak to when I get there? Okay, should I have written that as who or as whom? Well, let's do what we said. Answer in a complete sentence using he or him. So, who do I speak to when I get there? Okay, I'm going to answer that. You should speak to he. No, that's wrong. You should speak to him. So that's correct. So we know him is the right form. So if the answer were he, we would use who. If the answer were him, which it is, we would use whom. And here's how you keep those straight. See the M on the end of the word him? See the M on the end of the word whom. When you complete that sentence, if you end up with him with an M, you need to use whom with an M. So you would write it as, whom do I speak to when I get there? Putting that M at the end. You don't believe me? Let's try it the other way. Who knows the answer to number 4? Okay, so remember, answer in a complete sentence using he or him. Okay, he knows the answer. Is that correct? Sounds okay. Him knows the answer. No, that's Tarzan talk. We don't do that. We know that he is the correct answer. He would equal who in the question, as him would equal whom. So we go and we look. Who knows the answer to number 4? That's correct, because we didn't use a him, so we don't have the M there. We don't need the M there. Well, I hope that helps you with some of the confusing words and misused words and helps to improve your writing. I'm Uncle Mike.